welcome to Bunky's Workshop. I'm Bunky.
I'm Bunky Hubby.
So as you see today we have a Crane space heater. This is infrared dual stage. And we got this from Goodwill maybe
about 3 or 4 months ago.
Yep. We've been using it here in the living room and we like it, but someone had asked if we could do a review on it. And I said, absolutely. So we're going to do a review on the Crane, but we also have another one. We're going to do an unboxing together and we're going to discuss the pros and cons of each. Correct?
Yeah, it'll be a comparison to see what we think the strengths and the shortcomings of each may be.
So on the Crane, on the very top, you see it has a digital touchpad, which works fine. It can be confusing and does beep every time you touch it. It does the temperature, it does a timer, and you can also brighten or dim the face here. But what we just found out, because this does come with a remote control and it also can be connected through Wi-Fi. I do not have the remote control. You cannot get it online. So we tried to connect with Wi-Fi, and what happened?
In order to connect it to Wi-Fi, you need an app to download. We use Apple, so we looked for the app on the Apple Store. And the app is called the Smart Home. We looked for it and couldn't find it. We believe that the app is simply no longer supported, at least through Apple. And so in order to connect the heater itself to the Wi-Fi, you need to go in through the app in order to enter the right Wi-Fi login and password. So we don't have that option.
So that's the downside. And from what I've seen online, after Matthew could not get it to connect or get the app, there was a lot of negative feedback on this machine because even though you could connect it, it really didn't work too well. So, on with the show is on the back, it does come with a filter. It's magnetized so you can clean it, which is easy. The on and off switch, I believe, is here. So you can turn it off here or on, and you can also do the same on the top. So you can turn it on. Do I have it off already? What did I do? So it is on.
So do both the switch in the back as well as the button on top have to be
Yeah, I've
on?
been using this. I've not been using the main switch. I've just been using this.
Can you turn it on from the button on top if the switch in the back is off?
No, this is main power. So everything is off now.
So make sure the switch in the back is marked on, and then you can regulate it more conveniently from the top button.
So it is on. It's set at 69 degrees where I left it before. And you can toggle through temperature and all the goodies on there. And you can turn it on high or low, which one is it on? This is on high, and I can say at least you can only go in one direction. You just have to toggle through everything to get to one thing. But this is on high mode, and it is heating up. In my opinion, it's very quiet. What do you think?
It is quiet. We keep it in the central room of our house. And it is a large room. It's a living room and dining room.
And kitchen.
And if we close the bedroom door behind us, then it will keep certainly the living room and the dining room very nice and toasty. So I don't know offhand the number of BTU, but I can say that it can heat a large room efficiently within about 10 to 15 minutes.
So you just brought it up. This is model number EE8077W by Intertech. 120 volts, 60 hertz, 1500 watt maximum. So made in China. And this was made in 2015.
It's amazing to think that that is now 8 years old.
Yeah, so it's, well, most of your space heaters max are 1500 watts on regular household current. So, but anyways, as you can see, whoops, I turned it off. The dog has actually touched this button and turned everything off.
That can be a concern. You should be aware that that's a reality for those of you who have pets or small children. So it is low and the controls are accessible. So consider that as a safety warning.
Right. I believe you can, for child safety, you can toggle through this and find lock, and you can lock it out. But the one thing I don't like about this is this touchpad. Very sensitive, and it's not, in my opinion, you just can't walk up, hit a button, and make it do something. You have to search for what you want and find it. And once you find it, then toggle through that system. So to me, it's just a little more complicated than what it should be.
I would guess that the manufacturer put more of their eggs in the basket of the app and probably made the app more user-friendly, but we don't have access to it or the remote, so the screen is not easy to use.
It is nice, though, that it's on wheels. You can just move it around. I've done that many times. So I do like that. The wheels are rubber, very easy to use and quiet. What do you think about the output?
I'm feeling a warm breeze and I'm sitting probably a good 1.5 feet away from it. So the output, certainly within about 10 to 15 minutes, can warm up a large room. But another safety concern would be, if you notice, when you're moving it on the wheels, it doesn't go off. Now, you can see that the heating element is behind a grate, so if it should fall forward, then there's less likelihood of starting a fire. But I do know that some heaters are made such that when they are moved, that they will automatically go off in order for safety to be preserved. So consider that as a safety concern as well.
Yeah, moving around it doesn't turn off. I wonder if it would turn off if it was the tip.
You can see that it does not. The heating element is still glowing, even though we tipped it over. Again, that may be because the heating element is behind the grate, several inches, so if it falls on flammable
Yeah, because
rug.
I am tilting it in all kinds of directions, and it's still running. So yeah, I guess if you were to tip it over, it could be a fire hazard. So that could be a negative, definitely. All right, so let's do, when you turn it off, it shuts the elements off and runs for a couple seconds and cools down, which is nice. Let's do the unboxing of the other ones so we can compare. Now, a subscriber suggested this one and swears that this is the best space heater. I can say Vornado is top of the line when it comes to fans and stuff. What do we got? Anything special?
We have the owner's guide, safety warning, and then the whole room heater owner's guide. It is the instructions that are in English, Spanish, and French.
Okay, so we got this one unplugged. And this again is the Vornado. Vornado. Tomato. I must say it feels pretty hefty. Now I do have a couple of fans from this company and do love them. They have been around for a long time, and I can say they normally don't put out junk.
The safety features listed in the manual say that it will shut off if airflow is blocked. The heater will shut off if airflow is blocked. And that the grate will prevent fingers from getting into the heating element. And the case itself will remain cool to the touch even though the heater is getting hot. It can produce 1500 watts at high heat, 1125 watts at medium, 750 at low. It has a digital thermostat, and the timer can go from 1 to 9 hours.
And it says on the back, made in Kansas. Model number Velocity 3R, as in rat. So let's plug this sucker in. And I think for the fun of it, we'll just use this as a table. How's that? Is that fair?
That'll elevate it.
Yes, so. All right, so.
Notice it is much more compact, a smaller unit than the Crane, and so that may lead it to being easier to place. I'm feeling a significant air current from, I would say, about 2 feet away, and it is warm.
So you have arrows up and down. You can adjust this. Right out of the box, it was at 90 degrees. I'm trying to take it down, maybe like 70. There we go.
It's difficult to compare the air currents, but I would say it is at least blowing with the same amount of force that I felt from the Crane.
I was going to say, this feels like more coming out than what was coming out of here.
Yeah, it's difficult to quantify that.
Well, I wonder if...
Notice he picked it up and it immediately stopped.
So there is a switch on the bottom. You pick it up and it shuts it down. So, give me this. So it turns itself off.
And then you have to turn it on manually, which may add another level of safety.
So I kind of wonder if I have a place I could plug this one in.
Once you unplug the
I'm trying to... Well, I'm assuming if you turn both these on in one outlet, I'll blow a fuse.
Then there's a fuse behind you.
See how far I'm hoping they're not both on the same circuit. We are going to find out. Okay. This one's on high, and this one's on high. To me, that's a big difference. Can't move it. So put your hand in front of here. That's on high, and then in front of this one.
There is considerably a stronger current of air from the Velocity compared to the Crane. So I would say that the Velocity is certainly putting out more current And with the heater staying the same, then I would imagine that that means that the velocity would be putting out more heat along with that current. Therefore, I think the velocity would most likely heat up a room faster than the Crane heater.
Yeah, now that I compare the two, now that is quieter than this. This is definitely putting out a lot more air and heat than this one.
Yeah, so you do lose the silence of the Crane in order to get the power of the velocity.
Yeah, you definitely have more coming out of this little one than this one. This one is definitely quieter. So if you want quiet, I guess go for that. But I don't know, I'm kind of leaning towards this one because it's pushing out more.
Well, you buy a heater in order to heat up an area. So the strength of the heater would be that it pushes out more hot air. And the Vornado clearly pushes out more hot air than the Crane. So on the face of it alone, the reason that you buy a heater is to warm up a room. The Vornado would seem to do that much more quickly.
So I set it for 71 degrees and it just kicked down. And it's saying it's 71.
So is that a thermostat or is that the setting of the heat coming out? Does that say it's 71 in the room or 71 degree heat coming out?
Well, what does the book say? Well, there you go. So I had it set at 70 degrees, and when it hit 71, the heat and fan lowered. I put it up 75, and you hear the fan went back up on a high, and the heat went on high. So I think as you adjust this, it adjusts the fan and the heat.
Yeah, this is the thermostat. So it says set the thermostat to desired temperature, and the room temperature will illuminate on all three heat settings. So I think that is the temperature of the room as a thermostat rather than as a heat setting.
Yep, so when I put it back down to 70, it all lowered. So I guess it adjusts automatically for you by the thermostat.
Well, then that's the strength of the machine.
So at the end of the day, if you had to pick, would you go with the Crane infrared or would you go with the Vornado?
Well, finally, I think you buy a heater in order to heat up a room. And I think that the Vornado would heat up a room more quickly. So I would go with the Vornado. I don't think that the noise of the Vornado is such that it would be distracting but it is a shortcoming compared to the Crane.
So I turned it off and it's doing a countdown while cooling off. So it takes 30 seconds to cool off and shuts down.
I guess that's another safety feature.
So there you have it. You have the Vornado and the Crane.
Holy good grief.
Squeaky wheels. So I think I'm probably going to let the Crane go. What do you think?
Okay.
And keep the Vornado, or do you want to keep the vice versa?
I would keep the Vornado. I think it has more safety features. I think it is a faster, more efficient heater. It is more compact. So while it would be nice if it were silent, I think we only made silence a criterion or a priority because we had the Crane in the first place.
Yeah. That made more of an impact pushing air and heating the air versus this. You could see the red infrared, but you didn't get a lot of heat out of it.
And considering that the Crane itself was able to heat up a room very nicely in about 10 or 15 minutes, then I'm guessing that the Vornado is going to be even quicker at it, and that may save some energy.
Yep. Well, there you have it. We have the Vornado versus the Crane. It looks like we have picked the Crane, so it looks like we'll be getting rid of, no. Vornado versus Crane, and we picked the Vornado over the Crane, correct?
Correct.
So the Crane will be going bye-byes, and welcome home for the Vornado. So we do have some news you probably already see if you're watching the video, and what is that, Matt?
With a recommendation from Hooverlux, we tried to make a new intro using Intro Aid. Thank you, Hooverlux, for recommending Intro Aid, and we're going to premiere our new intro with this video. So we hope that you like it. We felt that it was a time for a change. It's a way of celebrating that Bunky's Workshop gained over 1,000 subscribers last month. And so let us know how you think. Give us a comment to say how you feel the energy or the intro brought you into our video, and maybe how it compares to the previous one. We'd like to know your input.
Absolutely. So thanks again, Dorian, for all your help over the time that I've been doing these videos. Hope all is well on your end. But for us, it is subscribe
Ring that bell.
and give it a thumbs up. And we'll talk to you on the other side.